In this special edition of Video Fashion News, we recap the most remarkable runways of the 2010s. Chanel on ice was twice as nice.
Those were real icebergs. Apparently they'd been shipped from Sweden.
Rick Owens got in step with inclusivity.
So much fun. The casting was incredible.
Sarah Burton's touching debut for Alexander McQueen drew tears.
I thought it was beautiful. It was spectacular and emotional at the same time.
The Valentino runway had some unexpected guests.
You heard about the photobomb at the end? And that was hilarious.
Plus, Jeremy Scott merged Happy Meals with high fashion at Moschino.
I'm just happy to see people's reaction is that they're happy because I really wanted to just put joy into the world.
But first, Marc Jacobs' magical final runway for Louis Vuitton.
You know, I approach every show like it's the last show. So, I mean, that's how it feels like to me. You're only as good as your last, and each one you should approach like it's your last. So I certainly did this with like tons of joy and no kind of any further thinking than getting this on the runway.
Vuitton, what an extravaganza. As Marc's last collection at Louis Vuitton, Marc Jacobs gave us a Victorian farewell with a black on black set and really touching on many of the sets from past shows.
You knew the minute you walked in this was totally his last show because they had a set that was made up of all the different sets that he's used before. So there were the escalators from a season ago, and there was the carousel and the elevators and the maids dusting things. I mean, sort of a walk down memory lane for everybody who's been following him for a while.
The whole spirit was it was very dramatic. It was beautiful hats with feathers, and everything was black and a lot of like embroidery. I don't know, I felt very honored to be a part of the show. Actually, I saw everything because I was sitting on the carousel, so I saw every outfit. It was incredible.
I mean, to be honest, Louis Vuitton was completely emotional. You could see a lot of editors getting emotional about it because it was just such a beautiful show and a really fitting ending, I think, to like Marc's time at Louis Vuitton. It was glamorous, it was beautiful, it was dark, it was sensual, but at the same time was utterly luxurious. So it was definitely a fashion moment.
Well, I mean, it's always emotional to me, and it's emotional to all of us because we put our heart and soul into it. You know, that's why we do it. We love fashion. But I didn't feel it was the most emotional one. I mean, I felt it was one of the most dramatic in terms of the clothing, I think, because the clothing was actually things I think people would love to wear and would wear, will wear, and they were black, and so there's kind of that thing that you can perceive of either as glamour or as a kind of darkness or whatever, but that's all perception. We were actually looking at like Esther Williams and synchronated swimming, and we were going to do the whole show in white, but then we had done the carousel in white, and we thought, no, we really like dark, and we thought of like all these characters of Paris and these muses of Paris, and then I just thought it would be so much chicer and so much more real, and people would really desire it and want it if it were in a color that most people I know who wear fashion wear.
An entire show of black on black, except for an occasional navy blue extension of a sleeve and a light blue denim that was paired underneath a lot of the very Victorian-inspired tops or many of the sheer dresses that were beaded, gemmed, bedazzled, crystallized, feathered, ruched, and gathered. It was creatively just over the top, and the ability to take every adornment imaginable and bring it into beautiful embellishment. The satin ruffles, the plissé of the interesting fabrics, very intricate and playing off on a lot of the Victorian ideas that we saw from his show in New York City, but giving it that Vuitton opulence. We always wish Marc the very best. He brings a lot of excitement to fashion, and he's certainly brought a lot of excitement to the House of Louis Vuitton, not only in the beautiful product, the interesting handbags he created, but each season it was his Paris spectacular, which is what we expect when we come here with over-the-top productions, and he never disappoints.
He can take you somewhere really magical, and, you know, in a way that's what the idea of travel should be about, you know? So it's not just about going some physical place, it's also going somewhere in your head, and Marc can really take you there.
Karl Lagerfeld put his runway on the rocks for a Chanel show like never before.
Those were real icebergs. Apparently they'd been shipped from Sweden. Just the spectacle of that. It was unbelievable. The guy just gets better and better. I mean, this was such a beautiful blend of kind of some of the classic DNA of Chanel with the tweed dressing mixed back to this kind of new obsession we're having with fur.
It was theater sublime, very cold. I felt like I had been transported to the Arctic, and it was lovely to see all those fake furs go by. In terms of what we'll buy, I'm sure there's plenty in the showroom to purchase.
Oh, I thought it was wonderful, wonderful. The mix of fake fur, I believe it was fake fur and lace, just makes you want to, be in the clothes. It looks wonderful and very cozy.
He did have a more brown and a more brown tone segment of the show, but again he did a beautiful blend. I mean there's at least 50 exits in that show. These are huge collections, so he has a lot of different moods and in a sense chapters. But he did still reference the kind of the more classic black and whites that we're used to from Chanel, and his knitwear. You really have to study a Karl show. It's a lot to absorb in one sitting like that. And I'm looking forward to getting in the showroom and really touching it out. There's a lot of couture craftsmanship built into it.
Karl Lagerfeld is the best, and he's a wonderful person as well as one of the most talented person I know. Everything they do is wonderful. What Karl does and what the rest of his team, he works with also wonderful people, very talented and very respectful.
The Chanel customer is really about, not so much about the fabrications that he's using, but more about his skill as a designer and how it fits them and how it suits their lifestyle. And the fake fur absolutely looks real. No one could tell the difference. So what's the difference? And it's probably a little cheaper as well. And certainly it's politically correct, which was nice. So yeah, I do think it's going to be very well received by the Chanel customer.
It was just a spectacular show. I really enjoyed it.
The Rick Owens show certainly stood out. I mean, it was a really powerful use of non-models. And I thought it was particularly interesting because, he talked about the exercise of having to design for so many different body types. And essentially, he made, 40 couture pieces in a way because there were no sample sizes there. So I applaud him for sure for taking on that challenge.
Rick Owens was one of the best shows I've ever seen in umpteen years going to fashion shows. It was so thrilling when all of the girls from those sororities came out doing the stepping, and then you saw the audience's faces and people were just, what is this? It's totally astonishing. It was fantastic.
Well, it was a fantastic spectacle, one of the feel-good moments of the season, if not fashion ever. You know, he rivals Marc Jacobs, I would say, for creating a fashion extravaganza, and this season, I think it made everybody feel uplifted and positive and like girl power.
To see someone who doesn't have to do that, who has an established brand, who could design for however he wanted to and put whoever he wanted to on that runway, I thought it was really nice that he decided to sort of broaden his vision.
Rick Owens was the highlight of the week. I mean, it was so much fun. The casting was incredible. It's been very amusing having overly svelte fashion friends of mine saying, but how am I going to look in those clothes? Like, welcome to the rest of humanity. No, I thought the clothes were great, and it was really interesting seeing them on body types that we don't usually associate with the Paris runway. And it had so much energy. It was truly fun.
Rick Owens was a show that really put a smile on everyone's face, and that, you know, gave us a break from just seeing clothes on the runway. I think it's very smart of Rick to do something that sort of sets a mood rather than just show clothes.
It's challenging because once you have that sort of individual presence on the runway, I do think that it's competitive with your clothing. And with these girls on the runway, I mean, I do think that his clothes to some degree took, you know, sort of played the chorus, and they were the stars. But that said, I don't think that the clothes always have to be the main event when they contribute so much to the sort of overall sense of the woman who's on the stage.
I mean, talk about bringing things down to the street and making it kind of real. I love the way he had there's no other word for it, but the balls to do that, I thought was great. I mean, the clothes were great. I mean, that's the thing as well. You know, you're not just seeing the incredible steppers performing, but also you're looking at great clothes, and I thought that was really amazing.
The front row at Alexander McQueen found Salma Hayek and husband, Gucci Group CEO Francois-Henri Pinault, eagerly awaiting Sarah Burton's first full collection.
Well, listen, I mean, it says so much pressure on her. I love she came out at the end in her simple jeans and the scissors still in her back pocket. And I think, you know, everybody were really there for the house and for her.
Burton spent 15 years working at McQueen's side, and for spring-summer 2011, she sent out a collection that embraced the signatures of the house, moving his vision forward.
I thought it was beautiful, it was spectacular and emotional at the same time.
Was very beautiful. I mean, I worked with a creative team back at Bergdorf's, and you know what, we kind of developed like visual languages together, and I'm sure that she was there with him on a lot of the things that have become iconic to the brand, these kind of over corseting, the obsessive use of natural materials like feathers or the monarch butterfly. And I mean, those pieces, they're beautiful. I think she did a really wonderful job. It actually did feel more feminine, and at times, you know, Alexander sent the girls out. The look sometimes almost overwhelmed them. This time, I mean, the girls were still, you still saw the woman in the clothes. Yeah, I think there was a feminine hand there.
extraordinary. Every single piece was extraordinary. You could not say anything other than that for every single one of them.
The pressure is going to be on. I mean, she as she moves forward with further collections, she will end up having to, mine her imagination for things that even exceed expectation. That's what the McQueen set up, a language where you never really knew where he was going to go next.
This is what a fashion show is about. I mean, it's fun, it's not too serious. It's wigs, as you can see, very short, very pixie-like.
It's just a glowing, gorgeous, quite boyish look, actually. And the clothes are just incredible. It's a real wow.
Embodies all of my humor in his clothes. I love him. I've always loved him.
It felt amazing. I opened the show in a McDonald's outfit. I love a sense of humor in fashion. It's so necessary. Everything's so bloody serious.
I played with the idea of fast fashion literally by mixing McDonald's and these tailleurs, taking the M from Moschino and McDonald's, but twisting it into a heart, which is an icon of the Moschino brand. I really just wanted to touch on the notes of Moschino, especially as the first show. I wanted to touch on the tailoring and that aspect of the brand and play with the suits, but I wanted to make sure I had brought fun and humor to them. I wanted to play with the element of streetwear and hip-hop, which was such a big deal in the 90s with Moschino being name-checked by Biggie Smalls and Little Kim and all the rap set, and I kind of wanted to play with that. The denim, the puffer jackets, the gold leather.
Show was the best. I think everyone brought out their A game, and it was just really fun to be original and do something fun. I wore a gold leather jacket and then a Hershey's printed puffer vinyl skirt and a lot of chains and a lot of accessories, which is always good.
And then, of course, the belt, the iconic belt, which is such a cherished item of fans and of the brand, but twisting it around and around until it's becoming like a corset and a dominatrix dress and holding up her whole body in a multi-belt situation.
I think it was fantastic, hilarious. It was an evolution of Franco Moschino language in modernity and contemporarity, because Jeremy is now. Is now.
Of course, playing with the high fashion alta moda couture evening wear element of the brand, but having the humor, like you had taken plastic bags from junk food and twisted them around and made a dress out of it to go out to the party for the night. I'm just really so happy to share it with everyone. I feel really blessed to have this opportunity. I'm just happy to see people's reaction is that they're happy, because I really wanted to just put joy into the world.
These are two designers who are Roman. They're always looking at their Italian heritage, and instead of that this season they picked two fabulous women, Emily Floge and Celia Burtwell, and took little bits and pieces from them. Emily Floge was a couturier who rejected the corset, which gave us the A-line relaxed dresses that were fabulous, I thought. And Celia Burtwell was a print master, and we saw the dragon that she contributed to the collection.
Respect for the history of the brand. I mean, everybody has seen Mr. Valentino almost crying at Maria Grazia and Pierpaolo's shows. So it's great, that kind of respect for the heritage of the brand.
I thought it was beautiful. It was very classic Valentino, beautiful embroideries and handwork. And some really nice coats and a lot of black and white, which I thought it was surprising for them. And then they came back to us all with some color in the end.
They renovated the brand, they revamped the brand, keeping the DNA. And so it's making very modern and very today, very flattering, very feminine, and so it's all women like.
I think what they brought to the brand is really this fusion of old world craftsmanship and also a young spirit. And you see all the bloggers and young celebrities wearing these intricate lace and crocheted dresses, and there is that Italian heritage, bringing this brand to a whole other audience.
Literally, they've capitalized on what Valentino represents and modernized it. So, two of the greatest designers at the moment.
You heard about the photo bomb at the end? Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson both walked the runway at the very end, and that was hilarious.
Everybody is talking about Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson on the runway, and I think that that was the feel-good moment of the season for all of us. But even without that, it was a really, really excellent Valentino show.